The holiday season carries a certain magic. Lights, music, celebration, family, and a rhythm that feels different from the rest of the year. But it's also a time when most people slow down, let go of their routines, and shelve their goals until next year. That's exactly why starting your holiday workout strong becomes a superpower. When everyone else takes their foot off the gas, you're choosing to push forward. You're unwrapping the grind with a mindset that says discipline is the best gift you can give yourself. The first step is deciding that your holiday plans won't derail your progress, but will fuel your dedication. There's something powerful about walking into the gym on a cold morning when the world still feels asleep. The air hits different, the weights sound louder, the silence feels like a challenge, and accepting it becomes your victory. When you step into your workout with intention during the holidays, you set a tone for the entire season. Instead of letting the festivities drain your momentum, you turn them into motivation. You remind yourself that success isn't seasonal. It's built every single day with small, consistent choices. Even when schedules get busy, when gatherings run late, or when the temptations of comfort and food are everywhere, your decision to show up becomes a declaration of strength. The Rock always says, success starts with showing up, especially when you don't want to. That's the mindset that transforms a holiday workout from an obligation into an opportunity. It's not about being perfect. It's about refusing to quit on yourself, even when the world gives you every excuse to. There's also something rewarding about knowing you're building momentum when others are losing it. You're not waiting for January 1st. You're not waiting for the right moment. You're creating it. Every rep becomes a reminder that progress doesn't pause. Every drop of sweat becomes proof that your goals matter. And when you work out during the holiday season, you're not just strengthening your body, you're strengthening your discipline, your mindset, your ability to follow through. You're teaching yourself that commitment isn't tied to convenience, it's tied to purpose. That feeling of purpose fuels you when the gym is quiet, when the weights feel heavy, when the distractions feel endless. Starting your holiday workout strong also gives you a mental edge. While others step into the new year trying to rebuild everything they lost, you enter it already moving forward. You're not starting from zero, you're stacking wins. Imagine walking into January knowing you didn't just maintain, you improved. Knowing you didn't let the holidays weaken you, you used them as a chance to rise. That confidence is priceless. It changes the way you look at yourself, the way you set goals, and the way you attack challenges. When you train through the holidays, you train your mind to reject excuses and embrace effort. And let's be honest, there's a fire in doing what others don't. There's pride in being the person who doesn't fold under pressure or fall into the comfort zone. You're choosing the path that demands effort, but also delivers growth. You're embracing the grind because you know what it builds: resilience, power, and belief in yourself. The Rock's work ethic is built on exactly that. Not waiting for ideal conditions, not relying on motivation, but committing to discipline. That's the energy you bring into your holiday workout. It's not about chasing perfection. It's about honoring the promise you made to yourself. When you start the holiday season strong, you also spark something inside you. You find that one workout turns into two into a week, and suddenly you have a streak you don't want to break. You become driven by momentum instead of temptation. It's not easier, it's just worth it. You understand that your body doesn't know what day it is. It only knows consistency. It only responds to the work you put in. So while everyone else relaxes and waits for the right time, you decide that the right time is now. You go into every workout knowing that this is one more step toward the version of yourself you're building. Starting strong during the holidays is about claiming control. It's about refusing to let circumstance dictate your commitment. It's about choosing to show up even when you're tired, even when your schedule is full, even when skipping sounds easy. You hit the gym with the mindset that champions carry. The grind doesn't stop because the calendar says festive. And when you move with that energy, you become unstoppable. You unwrap a version of yourself that is powerful, focused, and unshakable, not just for the holidays, but for every season ahead. Discipline doesn't take days off because greatness doesn't run on a holiday schedule. The truth is, discipline is the backbone of every achievement, every transformation, every victory you're trying to earn. Motivation may spark the engine, but discipline keeps it running when the excitement fades, when life gets chaotic, and when the holiday season comes with all its distractions, temptations, and reasons to slow down. This is the time of year when comfort calls louder than commitment. Late nights, heavy meals, social gatherings, and moments where everything around you whispers, relax. You've earned a break. But the ones who rise, the ones who separate themselves from the crowd, are the ones who remind themselves that discipline is not something you switch on and off. It's a lifestyle. It's a choice. It's the silent promise you make to yourself and keep, even when no one is watching. When you adopt this mindset, you stop negotiating with yourself. You silence the inner voice that tries to bargain for comfort over consistency. You recognize that every time you decide to follow through, especially during the holidays, you strengthen your identity as someone who can be counted on, not by others, but by yourself. And that's the most powerful form of self-respect. You walk into the gym not because you always feel like it, but because you said you would. You push through the reps not because it's easy, but because discipline makes you do the hard things that shape your character. You stay committed because your goals don't care what day of the week it is, and neither does your growth. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is the perfect example of this mindset. His success didn't happen because he trained only when it was convenient. It happened because he showed up on the days when he was exhausted, the mornings after long flights, the nights after endless work. He built a reputation, not for being the strongest or the fastest, but for being the most disciplined. That's what separates the elite from the average, the refusal to let circumstances dictate effort. And during the holiday season, when comfort is everywhere and excuses are easy to find, carrying that kind of discipline becomes a true superpower. Discipline doesn't take days off because your dreams don't either. They don't pause for celebrations, vacations, or winter breaks. They don't stop evolving while you rest. Every day you choose to stay committed, you're feeding the future you're trying to build. And every day you slack off, you're feeding the old version of yourself, the one you promised to leave behind. When you train through the holidays, you're proving that your dreams matter more than temporary pleasure. You're showing that your long-term self, the stronger, healthier, more successful version of you, deserves your dedication today. There's a deeper truth to discipline. It gives you freedom. Freedom from regret, freedom from guilt, freedom from starting over again every January because you lost momentum. When you stay disciplined, you maintain control. You walk into the new year with confidence instead of desperation. You don't feel the weight of "I should have" or "I wish I didn't stop." Instead, you carry the pride of knowing you kept going when most people didn't. That pride isn't loud or boastful. It's calm, powerful, and steady. It's the kind of confidence that spills into every area of your life. Discipline also builds mental toughness. When you force yourself to train on days when comfort is tempting, you strengthen your mind far more than your muscles. You teach yourself resilience. You teach yourself how to keep moving forward under pressure. You teach yourself how to prioritize in a world full of distractions. And the mind you build in the gym becomes the same mind that will help you overcome challenges at work, in relationships, and in life. That's why discipline is priceless. It transforms you from the inside out. During the holidays, you will face moments when your routine is disrupted. Maybe the gym is crowded, or your schedule is off, or your energy feels low, but discipline helps you adapt. Maybe you train earlier or later or at home if you must. The point is, you don't stop. You don't wait for perfect conditions. You adjust, you pivot, and you push forward. That flexibility combined with commitment is what creates unstoppable momentum. The truth is, discipline is a form of love. Love for your future, love for your goals, love for your potential. It says, I care enough about who I want to become to do what's necessary today. And when you honor that promise during the holiday season, you step into a different league. You become the person who doesn't fall off track easily. You become the person who others look at and say, how do they stay so consistent? But you'll know it's simple. You don't let discipline take days off. When you live with this mindset, you discover something incredible. Discipline gets easier. It becomes part of your identity. It becomes natural. It becomes the standard. And once your standards rise, your life follows. Your body changes. Your confidence grows. Your habits strengthen. Your results amplify. That's why discipline is the greatest gift you can give yourself, not just for the holidays, but for every day of your life. The holidays come with a different kind of energy. Warm lights, joyful gatherings, good food, music, laughter, and moments that feel rare during the rest of the year. Most people soak up that energy, let it slow them down, and fall into comfort. But when you approach the season with the champion's mindset, you learn how to turn that festive energy into fuel. Instead of letting the holidays drain your focus or dilute your discipline, you redirect that atmosphere into something powerful. You remind yourself that energy is energy. It can either distract you or push you forward. And when you choose to use it as power, something inside you shifts. You step into the gym with a spark that feels different, not heavy or forced, but inspired, driven, ready to lift more than weights. During the holiday season, emotions run high. You think about your family, your past, the year that's ending, the goals you were chasing, the things you didn't do, and the things you want to do better. For many people, that emotional pressure becomes overwhelming. But for someone determined to grow, pressure becomes fuel. You use it to remember why you're working so hard. You use it to remember who you're doing it for. You use it to stay grounded when everything else feels chaotic. Festive energy becomes a reminder that you've been given another year, another chance, another reason to push forward. Instead of letting it distract you, you let it sharpen your focus. When you walk into the gym during the holidays, you feel something different in the air. The world is moving slower, quieter, more relaxed. But you're moving with intention. That difference creates an inner fire because you know you're doing something uncommon. You're taking a season built for slowing down and turning it into an opportunity to speed up your progress. That mindset alone separates you from the average. While others are waiting for January to start fresh, you're building momentum today. You're training with the energy of celebration but the discipline of a warrior. Festive fuel isn't about ignoring the holiday spirit. It's about owning it. It's about appreciating the joy and using it to elevate your performance. Think about how powerful that is. Instead of feeling guilty for enjoying the season or feeling pressured to take a break, you let the season give you strength. You let the music, the lights, the atmosphere remind you that life is worth fighting for. Every rep becomes a celebration of your progress. Every set becomes a reminder that you're alive, capable, and committed. That's what turning festive energy into power looks like. You also have more opportunities during the holidays to reflect on how far you've come. When you reflect, you reconnect with your purpose. And purpose always fuels effort. Maybe you think about the struggles you faced earlier in the year. Maybe you think about the things survived, the things you learned, the moments when you didn't quit. That reflection adds emotional weight to your workouts. Instead of just lifting with your body, you lift with your heart. And when the heart gets involved, the results double. That's the power of combining emotion with effort. Your training becomes deeper, more meaningful, more intense. The Rock often says that intensity comes from purpose, not from perfect circumstances. During the holidays, that purpose becomes clearer. You realize that while everyone else is choosing comfort, you're choosing growth. While others slow down, you push harder. That gives you a psychological edge. It makes you feel unstoppable, as if the holiday season is your secret weapon rather than a setback. You use the festive energy to train harder, focus longer, and stay consistent when the world expects you to take it easy. Turning holiday energy into power also means embracing gratitude. Gratitude might not seem like fuel, but it is. When you recognize the blessings you have, the people in your life, the opportunities, the health, the strength, you train with a different kind of fire. You train because you can, not because you should. You train because your body allows you to. You train because it's a privilege, not a burden. That mindset boosts your energy, your endurance, and your commitment. It's impossible to be grateful and lazy at the same time. Gratitude wakes you up. Gratitude makes you want to be better. You also get to use the extra calories from holiday meals as real fuel. While others eat and crash, you eat and lift. You use it to build strength instead of settling into lethargy. You remind yourself that food is fuel, not punishment. You turn holiday indulgence into holiday intensity. You show up to your workouts with more power, more energy, and more drive because you're not wasting what the season gives you. You're converting it into growth. Most importantly, festive fuel is about rewriting the narrative. The world has taught people to believe that holidays mean slowing down, abandoning routines, and starting over later. But you rewrite that story. You create a new one. A story where the holiday season isn't a setback. It's a boost. A season where you train with more heart, more drive, and more focus than ever before. A season where you prove to yourself that you don't just train when it's easy. You train because you're committed. When you learn to turn holiday energy into power, you unlock a different level of discipline and passion. You step into the new year not trying to regain lost ground, but carrying the unstoppable momentum you built when the world least expected it. And that momentum becomes your greatest advantage. Training like The Rock isn't about copying his routines or lifting the exact weight he lifts. It's about embracing the mindset behind his work. It's about understanding that intensity, focus, and consistency are not just training principles. They are a lifestyle. They are a commitment to showing up with purpose every single time, no matter how you feel or what obstacles stand in your way. When you decide to train with that kind of mindset, your workouts stop being something you have to do and become something you get to do. You step into the gym with a different energy, an energy that says you're here to grow, to improve, and to build the strongest version of yourself. You train like The Rock, not by trying to match his size, but by matching his drive. Intensity is the first pillar of this mindset. The Rock is known for pushing himself far beyond comfort because he knows that real growth lives there. When you bring intensity to your training, you're not just moving through exercises, you're attacking them. You're giving everything you have. Each set, each rep, each moment. Intensity doesn't mean going reckless or hurting yourself. It means being fully locked in. It means treating each rep like it matters because it does. It means not letting laziness sneak in, not letting the mind quit before the muscles are done. When you train with intensity, you discover that your limits are further away than you ever thought. You realize you can do more, lift more, push more. You start expanding your capacity, and that expansion spills into every part of your life. Focus is the second pillar. The Rock doesn't allow distractions in his workouts. When he trains, he trains. Music on, mind locked in, world shut out. Training like him requires that same level of presence. You stop scrolling your phone between sets. You stop wandering mentally. You stop letting outside noise interrupt your moment of growth. Focus means you're aware of your form, your breathing, your tempo, your effort. It means you're connected to your body and your purpose. When you focus like this, your workouts become sharper and more effective. You start noticing improvements faster because your mind is driving your body with intention. Focus turns a 60-minute session into something powerful rather than something average. Consistency is the final pillar, and the most important. You can train with intensity and focus, but without consistency, none of it matters. The Rock's greatness didn't come from one insane workout or 1 month of discipline. It came from years of showing up, day after day, even when conditions were far from ideal. Training like him means committing to the long game. It means understanding that progress is built in layers, slowly, steadily, relentlessly. You don't quit when you're tired. You don't disappear for weeks. You don't rely on motivation to carry you. You rely on discipline. You rely on the promise you made to yourself. And every time you show up, especially on the days you don't want to, you reinforce that promise. That's how champions are built, through repeated follow-through. Training with intensity, focus, and consistency also changes how you see yourself. When you stick to a routine with the kind of commitment The Rock demonstrates, you begin to build self-respect. You start seeing yourself as someone who doesn't break easily, someone who doesn't fold under pressure, someone who doesn't need perfect conditions to do the work. That identity becomes a foundation. And once you build it, it's very hard to shake. Even when life gets difficult, even when stress hits, even when the holiday chaos tries to pull you off track, that identity keeps you grounded. You train because it's who you are, not something you occasionally do. The Rock's training philosophy is also about passion. He genuinely loves the iron. He sees the gym as a place where he can release energy, build strength, and reset his mind. When you adopt that mindset, training becomes more than physical. It becomes therapeutic. It becomes your outlet, your sanctuary, your place to reconnect with yourself. You stop viewing it as a burden and start viewing it as a privilege. You begin to crave the work because you know the work makes you better. It sharpens your mind. It strengthens your body. It fuels your spirit. Training becomes a form of self-care. Another part of training like The Rock is embracing the grind. He doesn't shy away from hard work. He doesn't look for shortcuts. He doesn't complain about long sessions, early mornings, or tough routines. He embraces them. He thrives on them. Because he knows the grind is what builds greatness. When you take on that same mindset, challenges stop intimidating you. Hard workouts don't scare you, they motivate you. You start seeing obstacles as opportunities to prove yourself. And Eve, right time. You push through something difficult. You build more confidence. Training like The Rock means holding yourself to a higher standard. It means refusing to be average. It means demanding more from yourself. Not out of punishment, but out of belief that you are capable of more. And when you show up with intensity, focus, and consistency, you begin to witness the transformation, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. You start becoming someone who doesn't just train to look strong, you train to be strong. This mindset isn't just for the gym, it's for life. When you master intensity, you become someone who knows how to attack challenges. When you master focus, you become someone who can shut out distractions and stay locked in on goals. When you master consistency, you become unstoppable in anything you pursue. That is what training like The Rock really means, building a version of yourself that is disciplined, powerful, relentless, and unbreakable. The holiday season is a unique test of commitment. While the rest of the world slows down, unwinds, and indulges, you're faced with a choice. Follow the crowd into comfort or rise above the noise and hold on to your purpose. Staying committed when others slow down isn't just about working out during the holidays, it's about proving to yourself that your goals matter every day of the year, not just when life feels easy or structured. The holiday hustle is a battle against distraction, temptation, and the mindset that whispers, it's okay to skip, everyone else is. But when you choose commitment over comfort, you unlock a rare advantage. You step into a category that only a small percentage of people ever reach, the ones who refuse to let their environment dictate their effort. During the holiday season, schedules get messy, sleep gets irregular. There are events, gatherings, late dinners, and long nights. Your normal routine gets disrupted, and that alone is enough to throw most people off track. But commitment isn't about perfect conditions, it's about adapting. When the world is busy, the committed find pockets of time. When others are sleeping in, the committed get up and move. When others say, I'll start later, the committed say, I'm starting now. This mentality builds a different level of strength. It trains your mind to stay focused in chaos, to stay disciplined when comfort is calling, and to stay driven even when distractions surround you. The holiday hustle forces you to push past excuses, and excuses sound louder during this season than almost any other time of year. It's too cold. I'm too tired. I have plans later. One day off won't hurt. The truth is that one day becomes three becomes a week, and a week becomes a month. But when you decide that commitment is non-negotiable, you break that cycle. You don't let excuses multiply. You don't let temporary moments steal long-term progress. You show up, not because it's convenient, but because you've built the identity of someone who honors their goals even when it's uncomfortable. There's a powerful shift that happens when you commit during the holidays. Your discipline becomes your anchor. When everything around you feels scattered or unpredictable, your workout becomes the one thing you can rely on. It becomes the space where you regain clarity, where you ground yourself, where you reconnect with your goals, while others drift through the season, hoping. To get back on track later, you stay centered. You move with intention. You maintain the momentum you spent all year building. And that momentum becomes your secret weapon heading into the new year. Staying committed when others slow down also feeds your confidence. Think about how empowering it feels to walk out of the gym on a freezing morning knowing most people chose to stay in bed. Think about how it feels to train while everyone else is saying, I'll start in January. There's pride in that. Not arrogance, pride. Pride in your discipline, pride in your consistency, pride in knowing you're doing something that many people won't. That pride builds self-belief, and self-belief becomes the fuel that drives your future success. The Rock is the perfect example of this mentality. He doesn't slow down because the calendar says holiday. He doesn't ease up because others are relaxing. He keeps training, keeps grinding, keeps pushing because his goals don't take breaks. He knows that consistency is the difference between wanting something and earning it. That's the energy you tap into during the holiday hustle. You remind yourself that success is built on the days when you don't feel like working, but you do anyway. You remind yourself that every workout is a deposit into your future, and the holidays are simply another opportunity to invest. Commitment during the holiday season teaches resilience. It strengthens the part of you that stays disciplined under pressure. It trains you to prioritize what matters. It teaches you how to create routine within chaos. That resilience carries over into every other area of your life. When challenges come, when stress hits, when things fall apart, you've already practiced staying steady. You've already practiced showing up. You've already proven that you don't crumble when circumstances shift. There's also something deeply rewarding about being the one who stays consistent while the world slows down. You feel like you're gaining ground while others are standing still. You feel like you're building strength, physically and mentally, while others hit pause. You feel like you're separating yourself, because you are. Commitment is the one thing that guarantees elevation. Not talent, not motivation, not hype, commitment. And when the holidays end and the world hits restart, you won't be scrambling to rebuild habits. You'll already be ahead. You'll already be moving. You'll enter the new year with power, not pressure, with momentum, not regret, with discipline, not excuses. That is the reward for staying committed when others slow down. The holiday hustle isn't about being perfect. It's about choosing effort over ease. It's about proving to yourself that your goals don't take breaks. It's about embracing the mindset that champions live by: when others rest, you rise. When others slow down, you push forward. And when the season ends, you're not starting over. You're leveling up. Becoming the gift during the holiday season means realizing that the most valuable present you can offer the world and yourself is the strongest, healthiest, most disciplined version of you. It's not wrapped in paper or topped with a bow. It doesn't sit under a tree or get handed out at gatherings. It's something you build within yourself every single day. When you choose to prioritize your growth during the holidays, when you decide to keep pushing, keep training, and keep evolving, you're creating a version of yourself that gives more than any material item ever could. You become someone who shows up with strength, confidence, energy, focus, and resilience. You become someone who inspires others simply by living with intention. And that is a gift that lasts far beyond the season. Becoming the gift means understanding your transformation, physical, mental, emotional, is something that impacts everyone around you. When you become stronger, you lead better. When you become more disciplined, you influence others positively. When you become more confident, you uplift the people you love. Your growth becomes contagious. That's why the holiday season isn't just a time to enjoy, it's a time to evolve. The Rock always talks about being the hardest worker in the room, not to impress others, but to be someone who can handle any challenge life throws. When you adopt that mindset, you become someone others can depend on, not because you're perfect, but because you're consistent. During the holidays, people often give everything to others: time, energy, effort, while giving nothing to themselves. They forget that they can't pour from an empty cup. Becoming the gift means deciding that working on yourself is not selfish, it's necessary. Your well-being matters. Your strength matters. Your goals matter. When you train, when you stay disciplined, when you take care of your mental and physical health, you're filling your cup so you can show up stronger in every role you hold. Parent, sibling, partner, friend, coworker. The better you become, the better your life becomes. And the better your life becomes, the more you're able to give to others without burning out. There is also a powerful transformation that happens when you choose to be the gift. You stop searching for validation from outside sources. You stop needing approval, praise, or recognition. Instead, you begin to build validation from within. You look in the mirror and see someone who honors commitments, who invests in growth, who pushes through difficulty. That internal pride is unmatched. It builds a kind of confidence that can't be shaken by setbacks or opinions. You learn to trust yourself. You learn to rely on your own strength. You learn to become the kind of person who doesn't need motivation. You create it. Being the gift also means embodying the type of discipline that most people avoid. Discipline is rare because it requires sacrifice. It requires doing the hard things when you'd rather do something easy. It requires choosing long-term fulfillment over temporary comfort. But when you live with that kind of discipline, every aspect of your life improves. You become mentally tougher. You gain emotional control. You build habits that protect your future instead of harming it. You elevate your standards. And once your standards rise, your results follow. There is nothing more powerful than becoming someone who refuses to settle for mediocrity. During the holiday season, when temptations are everywhere, becoming the gift means staying true to the version of yourself you're trying to build. It means enjoying the season without abandoning your goals. It means finding balance instead of excuses. It means reminding yourself that you deserve the results you're working toward. You refuse to give up momentum just because the world is taking a break. You keep your fire burning, and that fire becomes a symbol of what you stand for: strength, discipline, growth, and purpose. When you choose to become the gift, you also confront your weaknesses. You stop avoiding the NGS that scare you or challenge you. You face them head on because you know that growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from pressure, from struggle, from the moments when you push past what you thought was possible. You grow into someone resilient, not because life became easier, but because you became stronger. And that strength is something that carries into every new year, every new goal, every new chapter. Choosing to become the gift also means rewriting your narrative. You stop saying things like, "Next year will be different," and start proving it today. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and realize that the perfect moment is the one you're in right now. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally. Every workout, every healthy choice, every disciplined action becomes an investment in the person you want to become. Ultimately, becoming the gift means stepping into your power. It means deciding that you are worth the effort. It means building a version of yourself that inspires others without even trying. It means creating a lifestyle that reflects your potential, not your excuses. You become the gift when you commit to growth during the holidays and beyond, because the strongest version of you is the greatest thing you can contribute to your life, your goals, and the people you love.